Hi there, my name is Eric and I play bass, and today I'm gonna walk you through my keyboard setup for when I'm playing with Infinite Maiden, as this was something that quite a few people reached out to me about and asked what was going on. So what I figured I'd do is that I'm gonna run you through the set, or at least the songs in which I'm doing keys or triggering stuff using the 12-step, and I'm gonna walk you through what's going on in the main stage and whatnot. So first and foremost, the first thing that happens is that the last set that we did, we open up with Where Eagles Dare. So for that one, I've got a playback setup going. So for that one, if we're going into the 12-step editor, I'm going to show you that one right here. It's a patch called playback, and every note is set to A sharp 2. So that is the note that I've in the main stage assigned to the play stop switch. So whenever I hit whatever note I hit, I get the same result. And hitting them again stops the playback from going. So that's a nice thing. So that's the first thing that happens during the set. Really easy to set up. I bought the intro tune for Where Eagles Dare, the official motion picture soundtrack, and I'm using the playback thingy here in main stage, which it's really easy to use. So just using that. Secondly, we're going into the second patch, which is called Eagles Go Boom on my quad cortex, and that is just a bunch of noise. It's also a playback patch which plays some guns and bombs. Beautiful, right? So there is that, and that is just for the big part in Where Eagles Dare, the guitar solo thingy that Dave Murray plays live with Maiden and that Jonathan is playing live with us. Before we get going further, the thing that the Neural DSP Quad Cortex is doing in regards for the keyboards is that it's sending a MIDI program change message to the Keith Macmillan MIDI expander, which I've got hooked up here underneath the pedal board, and that in turn goes from the USB output of the 12-step into main stage, and that is what's changing the patches in main stage. I'm gonna share all of these patches in a link down here in the video description. Most of them are playable using just the stock main stage sounds. There are a few patches, however, that use some external plugins. For instance, the next one, the Clansman, will feature the BBC Symphonic Orchestra string section. However, that one is actually free if you can wait for 2 weeks. Otherwise, it's like 20 bucks or something. It's not that expensive, but it's great. So anyways, after Where Eagles Dare, we went straight into this little song right here. The Evil That Men Do from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. So what I've done on this one, which I'm doing on quite a few of the patches where I'm actually playing keyboards, is that the notes that are in the song trigger notes in main stage. However, notes like F or E flat or C sharp or D flat, they don't trigger anything. So if I accidentally hit them, it mutes the entire process, so you don't need to get the F in the Evil That Men Do, which is good. For the solo, I'm doing the playing some of the keys there as well, just to give it some lush texture for Christian's solo over. So other than that, it's pretty darn straightforward in terms of keyboard layout and whatnot. It consists of essentially 3 parts here. You get the string flute, which is a mellotron. We've got the vintage strings, which sound like this. You know, the 80s stuff. And then we got the lush blue carpet pad, which just gives it a whole lot of body, if you will. So next up we got the Clansman. In this one I'm using the BBC Symphonic, I don't know what it's called, but it's from Spitfire Audio, BBC Symphony Orchestra, and I'm using strings for this one, the violins, and I think it's just the violins and the cello. So we've got violins and a cello combined. I've got a velocity MIDI effects here to just, you know, make sure that it sends the max velocity, 127, and the transposer is just to bump them up an octave if needed, as you can see here on the violins. When it comes to, you know, the patch itself, it's also pretty straightforward. Pretty much just a bunch of octaves, and as with the previous patch, the Evil Dead Men Do, notes that are not in the song are being muted. So there you go. So this one is pretty much prominent during the entire song. One of the parts where you need to, you know, mind your step, if you will, is during the it just gives the song a whole lot more, you know, character and lushness, if you will. During one of the mid sections, I'm actually using these 3 keys as well, and they are not, you know, it's not a B flat, a flat, and a G flat. It's actually something like that. So it's pretty prominent throughout the song, and like I said, it's pretty much just octaves for most of the keys except for these ones. Where we actually got some chords going for the F and G chord there. So that's a fun song to play. Next up in the set, we go into one of my favorites to play. It's The Stranger in a Strange Land. Gonna open up. For this one, I'm actually doing quite a bit of patch changing. So we've got 2 patches going. We got Stranger main and we got Stranger solo. So for the main one, we got this one. So we got that one going for the main riff of the song. And this one, you really need to, stay alert for this one. So for the intro, we got the first 2 chords programmed for the E, the G, F turns everything off. There's nothing on C, C sharp, D sharp. The C and B up here are for the, the pre-chorus, no brave in the world thingy. And I've got a mute assigned to A as well, as when Bruce is singing on the album, it's... So we got that. The D here is for the verses. So yeah, that's actually, it's really nice and useful and makes it sound a bit more like the actual album version, if you will. Next up in that song, we got the solo patch. It's a bit different in terms of what's going on sound-wise. It's a bit more lush, again, using the word lush. And I'm changing in that one when we go into the second chorus, the stranger in a strange land. And the E flat is actually assigned for the chorus chord. And so on. So this one, this is a section where I really need to, try to get the wig out of my face and be there and then. So the E flat is for the chorus chord. The E, C, and D here are for the first part of the bass guitar solo thingy. Then I'm going up to the A, G, and F for the second part of the solo, as the voicings of the chords are actually changing. So for that one, we're going into the... And just to keep things consistent throughout this section, the B flat, A flat, and G flat are the chords during the solo, which are essentially the same chords as during the bass guitar solo. However, I got a bit more of a coherent voicing on these ones. So for that, we're going into the... And there, when we go into the pre-chorus, I change patch back to the main one so that I can go for the outro. I could of course stay on the previous preset and go just for the, you know, that chord. However, I find that using these ones have a bit more of an impact, if you will. So that's why I'm using those. Next up, we've got Out of the Silent Planet. And this one, I'm triggering these chords. These are essentially just, you know, just straight up basic chords, and I'm using those. I'm using this one for the solo section to give more, you know, oomph. You know, the nothing strange going on there, but it gives it a bit more, you know, lushness. Again, lush. Wonder how many times I've said it so far in this video. Next up, we've got a fan favorite, and for this one I actually need to change preset because I've run out of storage for the MIDI messages. We're going into Fear of the Dark, and this is like something that you really need when you're doing Maiden tunes live. You need these notes, and you need you know, this little patch here. It gives it all, you know. It really is what separates the T-shirt and jeans Maiden tribute band to the real deal, which is Infinite Maiden. So here we got the and as you can see here, both the D flat and E flat triggered the note B flat, because I tried playing it like this, and it proved one time too many that it was too hard to jump across the keyboard that far for such a quick note. So doing it like that really helps. Also here we got the BBC symphonic patch thingy going, the BBC Symphony Orchestra from Spitfire Audio. We got the oboes, and I think it's the I think it's the English horn, actually. Not sure. Oboe and let's see. No, just oboes. So yeah, just oboes, which I guess is the same as a French horn. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nothing too fancy going on here. The notes of the scale, and those notes who are not in the song are being just, you know, they are just muting the patch, so to speak. Next up, we've got another playback one, which is
We Shall Go On to the End.
old Winston. Then we got some Hallowed. Got some bells for Hallowed Be Thy Name, which is another BBC Symphony from Spitfire Audio thingy going here. It's the tubular bells, which are going like this. And as you can hear, there's something special going on here. I'm actually using Archetype Petrucci to trigger some shimmer in the reverb, just to make it more epic, if you will. I'm gonna disable that one, and here's what it sounds like without it. So those are some nice bells. However, that's even more epic. So that one you will need a few additional things for. The Symphony plugin from Spitfire Audio and Archetype Petrucci, just to make it even bigger. Next up, we've got Wasted Years, and this is just for, you know, the solo. Nothing too crazy going on here. This is actually the same sound I'm using in Stranger in a Strange Land, so I reused it as they are from the same album, so got some consistency going there. As far as what's being triggered here, every key is actually playable, so you can actually mess up on this one. So I might redo that for the future, but it's just got fifths or power chords, I should say, and I'm also doing this sometimes when I feel like it. So you can do that for the chorus if you want to. And last but not least, of course, we've got another playback one. It is
some things in life are bad, they can really make you mad.
So this video is probably demonetized by now, so if you want to help me out, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and help me out. I'm on the road to 10k and I hope to get there sooner rather than later. So yeah, that's what's going on with those are my keyboard sounds, I should say, for Infinite Maiden. I designed these sounds myself. I take great pride in doing so, and you can do pretty much all of this. You don't need the Neural DSP Quad Cortex to send the MIDI messages to the 12-step. You can do this with, say, an HX Stomp or the Line 6 Helix LT, or, you know, Stage, or what have you. If you have a device that can send out MIDI messages, you can of course assign patch changes to just the patch up and down button as well. So there is that. No need to worry about that you need a Neural DSP Quad Cortex. However, it does sound really great for these types of thingies. This entire set, this main stage set list, is available in a Dropbox link here down below. I'm not going to include the copyrighted tunes, you know, always look on the bright side. I'm not going to include that one in that folder for obvious reasons. However, and not also not the intro to Where Eagles there. However, the guns boom thingy, I'm gonna give you that because I'm a nice guy. And you don't need the BBC Symphony library to do this. You can do this with the built-in strings in Logic as well, and same with Fear of the Dark. One thing that I've found is really helpful when you're doing stuff like this is to actually have buttons being an off switch, and not being, you know, like for Wasted Years, that every note is actually playable. That can sometimes lead to disaster if you accidentally hit the F when you're meant to go for so that is a word of advice to you. All of the 12-step patches are also available in the very same Dropbox link down here in the video description. And hopefully this is helpful to some of you out there. Maybe not someone who's doing, you know, Iron Maiden tunes, but maybe you're using the 12-step for whatever reason and you want to see how you can, you know, incorporate things like this into your setup and what have you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell, and I'll see you guys and gals and cats and dogs in the next video. Until next time, take care. Bye.